Hello all, Lee here, and for my premiere video, I'm doing a character analysis with sociological overtones in the popular MTV reality show Jersey Shore. Classy, I know. I was originally going to start with a book critique and analysis of Ayn Rand's objectivist masterpiece, Atlas Shrugged, but my girlfriend convinced me to start here. I'll get to the deep, mildly pretentious stuff later, so for now, Jersey Shore. For those of you over the age of 30 or who view pop culture as something vile, Jersey Shore is about 8 people who claim Italian descent getting a house on the Jersey Shore. They get free room and board for working for free for the owner of the house, who also runs a nearby t-shirt shop. That's it. It's not much else. The interest of the show is not in its premise, but in the colorful characters, who are also tan. There's your standard split of 4 guys and 4 girls who claim to be Guidos and Guidettes, respectively, by claiming being a Guido and Guidette is a good thing, thus taking a racial slur and making it a good thing. Similarly, how to black people can call each other, you know. So, to start off with, you have Ronnie, one of the most normal characters of the show. He's from the Bronx and comes to the show without much of a splash, insisting that he won't fall in love on the Jersey Shore, which he probably does with Sammy, one of the female housemates. He's heavily muscled and schemes to have a bit of an anger issues, which rise up throughout the show. However, these are probably less a lack of control and more probably due to the fact that he comes from living where he did and moving into a culture which is much different than his hometown, thus causing some cultural dissonance. He has both an ease with violence and a knowledge of the workings of why such violence occurs, which is actually pleasantly surprising, for this is not a bad thing and lends itself to a few truly deep comments which the people you're talking to don't really understand. He's usually the voice of reason in a situation, and overall a nice guy who probably wouldn't make for good TV on his own. Secondly, you have Polly D, a DJ from Rhode Island. He owns a tanning bed, which he uses daily. In addition to being a candidate for early onset melanoma, he's also the oldest of the group with the ripe old age of 28. And his hair is in the setup commonly known as a blowout, which makes him look like a cartoon character that was in an explosion, achieved through prodigious amounts of hair gel. In general, he's an okay dude who has no problem with taking another guy's girlfriend, which sadly doesn't lead to as much drama as the show's creators probably thought it would. The next guy is Vinny, a kid from Staten Island who just graduated from college and is looking forward to his first summer being 21, who also wants to go to law school. Whatever. I, for one, have no idea why he's at the house, but perhaps he represents the everyman character for all the college students who watch the show. He does seem to attract the wrong women, first unknowingly handing off with his landlord's date, and then later with the situation's little sister. In general, he's an okay guy who just seems a little out of place in this odd cast of characters. Last of the guys is Mike, who goes by The Situation, which lets him talk in the third person. Hey, how's the situation? The situation here is great, and makes everyone think that he's kind of a big deal. And by everyone, I mean the situation. He really wants a relationship with Sammy, but that never happens. So instead, he brings tons of girls over. But I don't think he gets in any of their pants, for hooking up seems to apply to everything from sex to just making out a little bit. Oh well. It seems like he's more interested in quantity for bragging rights than the quality of the females he attracts. He's the stereotypical beta male trying to be an alpha male, which I'll talk about in a later video. He seems convinced that he's the one in charge and will go to great lengths to further that delusion. The most ridiculous of the guys, but the girls are oh so much worse. The first of the girls is Angelina, who goes by Jolie. Oh, I saw what you tried to do there. She goes in the show with the tagline of, hello, and is a self proclaimed cock blocker. She has a boyfriend back home who turns out to be married, and he breaks it off with her by episode 3. She feels the need to be the moral arbiter, and constantly is interfering whenever the guys bring girls home. The general consensus in the house is that because she isn't getting any, nobody else will. No one really likes her, and her self importance hits critical levels after her married boyfriend breaks up with her. See, when Vinny got pink eye, he had to arrange to get people to cover his shift to go see the doctor. But when Jolie felt bad, she just didn't go and arrived to work over an hour late to tell the manager that she wasn't going to be at work. When the boss slash landlord showed up, she hid in the bathroom and refused to talk to him to his face, upon which she was immediately kicked out of the house, and really everyone was better off for it. Then there's Jay Wow, a chick who refers to herself graphically as a praying mantis and talks about ripping off guys' heads after she does them, which I can only hope is metaphoric. She's actually Spanish, but being a Guidette seems to be less of a race issue and more of a lifestyle choice, which actually makes the show much less racist than I thought it would be. She starts off in a relationship upon which she promptly cheats on her boyfriend by hooking up with Polly, and then subsequently becomes single. She is truly a bitch and shows the beginnings of the innate inequality in the Guido Guidette social system. She even punches the situation several times for being an ass with no expectation of retaliation. She's generally unpleasant, but deep down she's. No, 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 she's just unpleasant. Next in this tour de farce is Sammy's sweetheart, who calls herself the sweetest bitch you'll ever meet, which is true in a way that she doesn't really understand. She is mildly into the situation at first, but then she and Ronnie hook up and stay that way, possibly falling in Guido love. In the show's first real physical fight, Sammy and Ronnie are being harassed by a belligerent couple on their way home. Ronnie tells her to just ignore them, but she constantly retaliates to their insults and escalates the conflict, leading Ronnie to lightly push her away while telling her to shut up because as soon as he does, the belligerent couple attacked. Luckily, they both went after Ronnie. Afterwards, Ronnie is broken up because Sammy is upset with him for lightly pushing her away, and she also gets mad at him for claiming to provoke the fight, which she did, but to her it just happened. She acted like him lightly pushing her was tantamount to domestic violence, and did not understand that her verbal abuse and rudeness could provoke physical violence towards her and her friends, a lesson that both she and the Snooky experienced but never actually learned. She's fairly pretty, but completely self absorbed, which is good for drama, I guess. Last is Nicole, or Snooky. She's a Chilean chick who thinks of herself as a Guidette and is a veterinarian tech who is looking for the perfect Guido. Her wacky and childish behavior leads her to a month-long dry spell, which she doesn't understand and never rectifies. She gets completely drunk off her ass in the first night, and does little else but whine for the entire series. When the situation is buying some drinks for some random guys, Snooky believes those drinks to be hers and gets in a guy's face, hits him. So he punches her back and makes her fall down and bleed a little bit. The Guido guys get pissed and go after blood, but don't find him, and none of the housemates can understand why a guy would punch a girl who was screaming in his face and hits him. This leads me to my main point, which is about the sexual dichotomy of power, a topic which I plan to go into further in another video. See, it's normally a well balanced system, but its flaws are taken to the extreme in the Guido social circles. You see, Guidos, in addition to being obsessed with their appearance and scoring chicks, are fairly honest and straightforward. Even the situation, who is a douchebag, is fairly straightforward of being a douchebag. They're also overly concerned about respect, but are generally okay guys. It's like if you take all of the token things that young boys are taught, like not hitting girls, and then take them to the extreme, like not defending yourself when a girl is literally attacking you and scratching her face to get anything she can. Now, these extremes are fine. I mean, an obsession with honor and respect is how Japan worked for God knows how long. But accompanying values must be taught to girls, like honesty and discretion and respect in the situation. The problem is, these are not values that Guidettes even consider, which leads to the show's dilemmas. You see, women have a tendency to gain a sense of invincibility in their actions due to the fact that they are rarely in situations where their words might have a violent response. Normally, this just means they might say the wrong thing or do the wrong thing and make it a potentially more violent situation more so. But Guidettes escalate the situation faster and farther than normal, as seen when Sammy exacerbates the antagonistic couple until they attacked Ronnie, when they probably would have just harassed him all the way home. This only works as long as they deal with Guidos, for Guidos won't do anything to respond to them due to their own moral code. However, when they deal with others, their antagonism and outright rudeness is met with a lack of tolerance. They don't know how to deal with it, so they become worse, and then, well, Snooky gets punched in the face. The last effect of this dichotomy is the fact that while Guidos are incredibly honest, to a fault even, the women are just manipulative liars who deny what they don't want to be true and outright lie when it fits them. The best example of this is not from the self-crowned queen of Guidettes, Snooky, but instead Sammy Sweetheart, who is revealed to have been getting friendly with the situation when she was telling Ronnie how she hated him, causing them to break up over her lies and hypocrisy when she tried to convince Ronnie that it just wasn't a big deal, and is called out by the entire cast of the reunion episode. And yes, I watched the reunion episode because I try not to talk about something until I've seen all there is to see about something. In conclusion, Jersey Shore is an entertaining show with an interesting cast of characters whose main source of drama is the appalling female behavior the Guidettes exhibit and their disregard and exploitation of the socially accepted morals of the Guidos. That's all for now. Hopefully, I'll have something a bit more brainy and entertaining, but who knows? This is me, publicly speaking, and signing off.